Now I'm starting with a multiple of chain 2. So I have here 114 chains. Now we want to do half double crochet stitches across, so skip the first stitch and half double crochet into the next, skip the first chain, half double crochet into the next chain, chain 1, skip 1 chain, half double crochet into the next, chain 1, skip 1 chain, half double crochet into the next. So this is what we're going to repeat across the row. Skip 1 chain, half double crochet, repeat it up to the end of the row. After your last half double crochet, chain 1, turn and repeat again, half double crochet into the first stitch, chain 1, skip the chain 1 space, half double crochet into the next stitch, which is a half double crochet from the previous row, that is row 1. Chain 1, skip chain 1 space there and half double crochet. So we want to repeat that across, chain 1, skip space, half double crochet, chain 1, skip space, half double crochet. Repeat that across the row. And after the last chain 1 and half double crochet into the last stitch, chain 1, turn. So we want to repeat row 2. So that will be half double crochet into the first stitch, chain 1, skip chain 1, half double crochet into the next stitch. That's what we want to repeat on row 3 and row 4. So we're going to make 2 more rows of this. So we're repeating row 2 2 more times. So we have up to row 4. Once we finish with row 4, chain 1, turn, and 2 half double crochets into each chain 1 space across. And after the last 2 half double crochets, make the last double crochet, half double crochet into the last stitch, chain 1, turn. And we're going to repeat this again. These rows, we're going to repeat it 4 times. So we want to have 4 rows of these open stitches. So half double crochet into the first stitch, chain 1, skip next, half double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1 stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1 stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch. So we want to repeat that across the row. Okay, chain 1, turn, the end of row 6. We're going to repeat again 3 more rows of open stitches. So we'll repeat what we did on row 2, 3, and 4. Repeat it up there. Once we're done with the 4th row, so 1, 2, 3, 4 of the open stitches, we'll repeat 2 half double crochet stitches again on the next row. So what we want to do now for the next couple of rows is to repeat this sequence, these 5 rows. So the next row will be 2 half double crochets, chain 1, turn, 2 half double crochets into each of the chain 1 spaces, and then finish off with half double crochet into the last stitch, and then chain 1, turn again, and repeat another 4 rows of open stitches. So we want to repeat that for the next couple of rows as written in the pattern for the size you are making. So we have 34 rows here. The next row is the solid half double crochet stitches, but we're going to decrease from this row. We're only going to decrease the half double crochet, solid half double crochet rows. So into the first chain one space, do 1 half double crochet. Okay, and in the remaining I'm going to do 2 half double crochets each as before. Into the last chain one space, we'll do 1 half double crochet and 1 half double crochet into the last stitch on there, which is the first stitch on the previous row. Chain 1, turn. We did 1 half double crochet here because we're decreasing, okay? So we're skipping 1 stitch. So instead of doing a half double crochet 2 together, we're just going to skip a stitch. So on this row, we've skipped 2 stitches at the beginning and at the end. So chain 1, turn, and repeat this half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet into the first stitch, chain 1, half double crochet, skip 1 stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1 stitch, chain 1, turn. So repeat 3 more rows of half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, chain 1 across the rows. So 3 more rows of that. So we have 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Once for the next, we're going to repeat this 5 rows 2 more times. So the next row, after you chain 1, turn, we're going to decrease again. So that means we make 1 single pattern, 1 half double crochet into the very first chain 1 space, and then 2 half double crochet stitches into each of the remaining chain 1 spaces, and into the last chain 1 space, 1 half double crochet and 1 half double crochet into the last stitch. So we want to repeat these rows 34, 35, 36, 37, 38 2 more times. Remember, the open stitches are not decreased, only the half double crochet rows are decreased at the beginning and at the end. So once we finish the increases pattern, the decrease rows, which are 1, 2, and 3. So that's 3 rows of solid half double crochet decrease only at the sides. Okay, so now we'll make another row, another 4 rows of half double crochet, chain 1 across. So the next row, so far we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 54. So on the 55th row, remember this is for a large size. On the 55th row, we will just do half double crochets, 2 half double crochets each into the chains, no increase, no decrease. So that's what we want to do on this row. So 2 half double crochets into the chain 1 space, 2 half double crochets into each of the chain 1 spaces across, and 1 half double crochet into the last stitch on the same row. Okay, once that is done, with our half double crochet into the last stitch, chain 1, turn. So the next 4 rows will be the half double crochet, chain 1 rows. So that's 55, 56, 57, 58, 59 will be repeats of half double crochet, chain 1 rows. So on the next row, we want to increase. We'll increase in the double crochet, solid double crochet row. So here, into the first chain 1 space, we're going to make 3 half double crochets as opposed to making 2 half double crochets when we're not decreasing or increasing, I mean. So 3 half double crochet stitches and 2 half double crochets into each of the chains across, then into the last half double crochet, pardon, into the last chain 1 space, we'll make 3 half double crochets and finish with 1 half double crochet in the last stitch. After the first row of increase, we'll make the four rows of half double crochet stitch, and we'll make another more rows of this as the pattern calls for. So what we want to do is just to repeat this increase row and the 4 rows of half double crochet chain 1 stitches. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and I will increase again. Okay, to increase, we're making 3 half double crochets into the chain 1 instead of 2. So we'll make 3 into the very first chain and 2 half double crochet stitches across. In the last stitch, we'll make 3 half double crochets into the chain and 1 half double crochet into the top of the last stitch, and make another 4 rows of half double crochet chain 1 stitches. So once we finish the increases, remember we began this with just regular, no increases or decreases, and we worked up to the point where we made decreases. Okay, we made decreases and then we made 1 even row. That's for the solid half double crochet stitches, and after that we started our increases. So we've increased up to the point where we need to mark out the neckline. So you want to check out the other sizes for where to stop and mark out your necklines. And also, we are focusing on the front panel right now. We also have the back panel, which is basically done the same number of stitches and everything. It's a repeat of the front panel, but there will be some slight difference for the back panel. So here we have row 75 heading on to row 76. Chain 1, turn, half double crochet into the first stitch and chain 1, skip the next stitch, half double crochet into the next. So we want to repeat that across to just to the last stitch right here before this marked place here. And the last chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet into the last stitch, chain 2, turn, skip the first half double crochet and the chain 1 space and into the next stitch, into the third. So we're skipping 2 stitches and into the third, half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, skip chain 1, half double crochet in the next stitch. Repeat that across. Oops. At the end of the row, chain 1, turn, and repeat another row as we did for row 76. Half double crochet into the first stitch, chain 1, skip chain 1, half double crochet, and half double crochet into the last stitch, chain 2, turn. So on here, when we're working When we're working inward, we're working into all the stitches. So the last stitch here is the first stitch on the previous row. Chain 2, turn. When we're working outward, we're decreasing. So chain 2, turn, skip the first stitch and the chain 1, half double crochet into the next stitch. So this is a repeat of row 77. Row 77. Okay, chain 1, skip chain 1, half double crochet into the next stitch. Repeat that across. At the end of the row, chain 1, turn. We're still increasing, so we're going to increase on here. We're going to make 3 half double crochet stitch, just like we started from here. Yeah, we've been increasing from here, so we're going to continue to increase. So 3 half double crochets into the first chain 1 space, 2 half double crochets into the remaining chain 1 space. Two half double crochets into the last chain 1 space, chain 2, turn. Okay, we're going to decrease again. So skip the first stitch and the next stitch, half double crochet. So we're skipping 2 stitches, half double crochet into the third stitch, chain 1, skip next stitch, half double crochet. Repeat that across. Chain 1, turn, and repeat one last row of half double crochet, chain 1 stitches, chain 1, skip chain 1, half double crochet, chain 1, skip chain 1. Repeat that across, and half double crochet into the last stitch. Snip your yarn. Once we complete this side, we're going to go on to the next side. So into the next stitch, not where my hook is, but into the next one, I'm going to join yarn and chain 2. This chain 2 counts as the first stitch on this row. And skip the next stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch. This is because we are decreasing, so we're not chaining we're not chaining 3 here. All right, chain 1, half double crochet, skip 1 stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1 stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch. We're going to repeat this across the row. At the end of the row, chain 1, turn, or turn and chain 1, same thing. We're going to repeat another row of half double crochet stitches and chain 1. So half double crochet into the first stitch, chain 1, skip the chain 1 space, half double crochet into the next stitch. We'll repeat this across the row, and we will decrease in the last 2 stitches. So repeat chain half double crochet in chain 1, skip half double crochet into the half double crochet stitch. Alright, I'm at the last 2 stitches. So after the last half double crochet, we have a chain 1. Not the last half double crochet. There's actually 3, 1, 2, 3. So in the second to the last, we have double crochet, then chain 1, because we have a chain 1 space here. So we have this half double crochet and chain 2 as our last 2 stitches. So we're going to do a half double crochet into the top of chain 2. After the last chain 1, half double crochet in the top of chain 2, because we are decreasing. Okay, turn. I'm going to chain 2 again, chain 2, turn, or turn and chain 2. we have a stitch here which we will skip, and then half double crochet into the first half double crochet there, chain 1, half double crochet into the next, chain 1, skip, half double crochet into the half double crochet. Repeat this across the row, and half double crochet into the last stitch, chain 1, turn, half double crochet into the first stitch, chain 1, skip, half double crochet into the next. So we're repeating 1, 2, this second row here. Repeat it across the row, and we will decrease in the last 2 stitches. After the last chain 1, skip the next stitch and half double crochet into the top of chain 2. Turn, chain 1. We're going to make half double crochet stitches into each of these, 2 half double crochet stitches, and in the last chain 1 we make 3 half double crochets. We make 3 half double crochets because we're still decreasing on this row. This is the last, we're increasing. Excuse me, this is the last increase that will be made. Half double crochet, half double crochet, 2 half double crochets, and 1 half double crochet into the last stitch. Chain 1, turn, half double crochet into the first stitch, chain 1, skip the next stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch. We're going to repeat this across the row, and we'll decrease across in the last 2 stitches. Okay, on the last row I have 3 stitches left on this row, so chain 1 for this, and I'm decreasing, so I'm going to decrease on this stitch. Okay, I'm decreasing on this stitch. There is 1 stitch left here, but we're gonna leave that alone. We're gonna ignore it because we're decreasing. Chain 2, turn, or turn and chain 2, and we will work the last row of stitches, chain 2 and into the half double crochet, chain 1, skip chain 1, half double crochet into the next stitch. Once we're done with the front panel, we're going to level the back panel. So for this we just need to repeat two rows on each side, 2 rows here, 2 rows here, and we're done. So continuing from this part, alright, continuing from this part, chain 1, turn, half double crochet into the first stitch, chain 1, skip 1 stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch. We're going to repeat this across the row. And we have 2 stitches left. I'm going to skip the next one. I will chain one, no chain one, skip the next one and half double crochet into the last stitch. Chain 1, turn, row 2. Actually chain 2, turn, or turn and chain 2. Into the next stitch, we'll do a half double crochet. And chain 1, half double crochet. I'm going to repeat this across the row. And half double crochet into the last stitch. I'm going to leave a tail so that I can use this to sew the shoulder. 8 inches should be enough. And we're going on to the second side. Join yarn into the stitch. Chain 2. Skip the next stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch. Repeat this across the row. Chain 1 and half double crochet into the last stitch. Chain 1, turn. Half double crochet into the first stitch. Chain 1, skip chain 1, half double crochet into the next stitch. Repeat this across the row. So half double crochet, we have 1, 2, okay, chain 1, half double crochet, chain 1, and we have 2 stitches left. I'm going to make the last stitch, skip the next half double crochet and half double crochet into the top of chain 2, and we are done. So we have our back panel and we have the front panel. Now the difference between these two panels is the back panel has just 2 rows for the shoulder, while the front panel has 7 rows for the shoulder. So if you still find this confusing, just refer to the written pattern for the different sizes and the number of stitches that you need to make, the number of starting chains that you need to make for them. Okay, now we're going to join, close up the shoulder, and after that you mark out the armhole, and after we mark out the armhole, we will join the sides. Before we begin, note that this is the right side of the top. So how to know the right side? The first row, row 1, is on the right side. So that is the right side of the top. Right? So we're going to join yarn in stitch, and chain 1. Single crochet into the next stitch. So this stitch, there is no stitch in here, unlike here. On this stitch, in this stitch, there is a stitch, which is this row right here. But we're beginning in the next stitch where we have the stitch marker. And we'll make a single crochet into the next stitch and single crochet into each of the stitches across. To the next marked stitch here. Once that is done, so we have the next stitch. The next stitch, there is a stitch in there, and this row here. So in the next stitch we make a single crochet, 2 together, a single crochet, decrease. So go into the stitch, don't finish off single crochet, go into the next stitch row, which is the shoulder, and finish off, make a single crochet, 2 together. Now chain 1, single crochet into the next stitch row, chain 1, single crochet to the next stitch row on the opposite side. So now we're on the front panel, this is the back panel. We have only 2 rows of shoulder on the back panel. So okay, now onto the front. Single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. So 1 single crochet into every stitch row and then chain 1. Okay, still going on. Single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. Alright, now we have the last stitch row on row 1. Pardon, I don't mean row 1, I mean the last row here, and then the stitch that it is worked into. Okay, we started with a chain 1 and chain 1. Now into the next stitch row and into the bottom of that the stitch where this same stitch is, we'll do a single crochet, decrease, single crochet into each stitch stitch on the front of the panel up to this point here. And this corner again we will do a decrease, single crochet, decrease. So at the corners we are decreasing, we're making single crochet, decrease. So single crochet across to the next point of marking. In the next corner, so which is this next stitch and the first row, the row here, single crochet, decrease, chain 1, single crochet in next stitch row, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. If you're ever in doubt as to the number of single crochet you're making, know that on the front panel for the shoulders, the number of rows we have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 rows for the shoulder here. So minus this one that is decreased. So you want to count, you want to make sure you have 6 single crochets, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 single crochets. So I know that I have the right number of stitches there. So chain 1. Now we're going to the back panel, which has only 2 rows of on the shoulder. A single crochet into the next stitch row, chain 1. And this is the last stitch row, and into the stitch where this first stitch is, we will do a decrease, single crochet, 2 together. And we will join into the chain 1 from the beginning of the row. Alright, one more row and we're done with trimming the neckline. Chain 1 into the next single crochet, slip stitch, slip stitch, slip stitch under the 2 loops. So on this row, on this round I mean, we are making slip stitches into each of the single crochet stitches. At the shoulder parts, make a slip stitch into the chain 1 space and slip stitch into the single crochet stitches. After the last slip stitch in the decrease, the SC2 together, we'll make one last slip stitch into the chain 1. And we're done. Slip yarn, weaving tails. After that, we're going to mark the armhole. Mark the armhole and we'll close it up. Alright, once we mark out the armhole, we're going to begin to trim the sides before we close it up. So we're going to start from this edge here. So you want to make sure that this is facing the right side. Now the right side of your work is the first row. If the first row is on the right side, then that is the right side of your top. Okay, so I'm starting from the left. Okay, because if you wear it like this, this is the left side. So start from the left side, and we want to join yarn into the stitch, into the bottom right here. I'll join the yarn. Chain 1 into the first stitch row, single crochet, chain 1. Okay, into the next stitch row, single crochet, chain 1. So we're going to repeat this all the way around, up the sleeves and down again. So single crochet, chain 1 in each stitch row. Chain 1, single crochet, chain 1. Single crochet, chain 1 and join into the chain 1 space there. It's quite wide, but by the time we weave in the tails, it's going to close up. Chain 1, turn. So from here we will make slip stitches into the front loop only of each of the single crochets and chain 1s. So slip stitch in the front loop only of the single crochet stitches and the chain 1. So you need to be patient here because well, stitches are not so easy to go into. I mean the chain 1. So be patient, take your time and work this into the front loop only. Alright, we're going to repeat this all the way around up to where we have marked the armhole. So when we get to this point, we're going to hold both together and oops, what am I doing? Okay, yeah. Anyways, so we're going to close it up and we will join the remaining parts of it. So continue to make slip stitches into the front loop only of each single crochet and chain 1 stitch. Once we are done with okay, we're not quite done, but the second row of slip stitches. After you mark out the armhole, you want to make sure that the number of stitch rows you have here is the same number you have at the back. So this is our point of join. This is where we join the shoulder. So you count from here down for the number of rows, so that you know you have the same thing. And then you want to also count the slip stitches that you have made on this side. You want to count the slip stitches. Also, still using this point of joining as a guide, you count the slip stitches, because you know we're doing single crochet, chain 1, So single crochet, chain 1. This is the last stitch on here, the chain 1. Okay, I'm going to count from that slip stitch all the way down, and then from the next single crochet, chain 1, I'm going to count all the way down here as well. I want to make sure that I have the right number of stitches. So I stopped in the single crochet, chain 1 here. So now we're going to join these two parts. So we will go in from the front loop of the slip stitch. As I said, you have to be patient when you're working this front loop. Okay, front loop of the slip stitch and excuse me, front loop of the stitch and back loop of the next. So that's the chain 1 actually of the chain 1 counts as a stitch. So right there, and front loop of this stitch. Front loop is the loop that faces you, because we have these V's, the one in front of you, and into the back loop of the next stitch on the other side. You have to be patient for this part, because as much as I like to join, I just want to avoid sewing this, and I want it to come out looking very neat and you know, nice. Okay, so in front loop and then in back loop of the next stitch. So I'm aligning each of the stitches, slip stitch into the next front loop, and back loop. Alright, we're going to repeat this across the row. Front loop, back loop. Be patient and you'll be done in no time. Alright. Okay, so we're done with this side of the top. We're going to go to the next side, and then we will begin from the back panel, because for this side we began at the front panel. So join yarn into the stitch, the first stitch row. Join yarn into the bottom stitch right there, the first stitch on that row. Chain 1, single crochet into the same stitch row, chain 1, and into the next stitch row, single crochet, chain 1, into the next stitch row, single crochet, chain 1. We're going to repeat this around up to the next point here. And single crochet into the last stitch row, chain 1, and I'm going to join into the bottom stitch there, the slip stitch. Okay, chain 1 and turn. So I'm going to walk around walk in stitches on here. So we're going to walk into the back loop. Alright, so the back loop of the chain 1 and the single crochet stitches. On this side we walk this way, because this is the front. We walk this way and we walked into the back loop for the front. So here, because we want this part to look like this part, we're going to go and work into the back loop of each chain one and each single crochet. We will make slip stitches as before. Take your time and do this. So we're going to work this up to the armhole, and then we will join both sides. So into the back loop of each chain one and each single crochet, make slip stitches. I'm at the armhole area, so at this place I'm still working slip stitches on one of the panels. So from here now to this front panel here, which I have marked, I'm going to walk into the front loop of each chain one and each stitch. Okay, we walk into the front loop this time around, not the back loop. Why? Because if you notice on this end there is a loop down there is a loop down here in the single crochet stitches and the chain one. So we want both parts to look the same. So we'll now begin to make our stitches into the front loop only, so that we can have this loop out at the edge here. So slip stitch into each of the chain one spaces and single crochet. Now to know the number of rows, just use in the pattern, you will see how many stitches you need to leave mark for the armhole. So like for this size I have 52 stitches, that is counting from this joining here. Okay, 52 on this side and 52 on this side. So that's the same thing that I have done for here. So this is the point of joining. So if you count from this next single crochet and chain one, because that's basically 2 stitches in one, single crochet, chain one. So from here to down here I have 52 stitches, and from here, from this chain one down here I have 52 stitches. So I know that I have the right number of stitches to work into before I close up the side. I know it seems like a lot of work, but well, what is worth doing is worth doing excellently. So when we get to the point here where we've marked the armhole, we're going to begin our slip stitches into the front loop of the stitch in front and into the front loop of the stitch at the back. So that means we're working into front loops only. So this is the slip stitch here. These ones that look like V's, these are slip stitches. So in the front loop and in the front loop of the next stitch. We're going to repeat this across the row. Front loop, front loop. So carry on repeating this across the row. And once you're done, snip yarn and weave in all tails. So this is a very stretchy piece of clothing. If you want, you could block it, or if you want, you could just wear it as is. When you wash it, it's going to stretch eventually. So thank you for joining me on this tutorial, and I look forward to see you in my next one. Don't forget that you can get the pattern of this top on my blog www.yarncrafty.com, or you can get an ad-free PDF in Etsy, Ravelry, or Lovecraft.com shop. Thank you once again. God bless you. Bye.